So in 2015, we said, you know what? The one thing that can change about me is that I can sin less. When I get to the end of 2015, I might not be sinless, but sure enough, I ought to be able to sin less than I am sinning today. With each and every day that passes, we ought to be looking to remove sin and eradicate sin from our lives, because that's what God desires. And the more we take sin out of our lives, the more we become like him. The more we become like him. So we should pursue the likeness of Christ. Then Paul says this at the conclusion of this. He says in verse 13, he says, but one thing I do. Paul says, it might not be a lot of things that I do well, but one thing I do. I forget about those things which are behind. And why do I forget about those things? Because I'm reaching forward. You've never seen anybody run like this for the finish line. Reaching backwards and reaching forward. But really what Paul is saying is that I strain forward. Paul's not saying that I just casually reach my hand out. But Paul says that I'm running so hard and so fast and I'm leaning forward that I am straining forward, reaching towards Christ, reaching towards him, because there is a sense of urgency and I am intentionally trying to get to him. What would our world look like? What would your life look like if Christians were straining forward with a sense of urgency and intentionality, reaching towards Christ, moving towards him? You know your life will begin to change. That little stuff that bothers you today wouldn't bother you anymore. Because you say, you know what, I got bigger things on the horizon that I'm looking and I'm moving towards. I can't be bothered with you. I can't be bothered with your foolishness. I can't be bothered with any pettiness, because I am moving forward and I am straining forward. The person that's running the race is not worried about the cracks in the ground. The person that's running the race ain't looking down, talking, oh, look at all these cracks. Look at these cracks. They need to sweep this track. They're not looking down at that. But their eyes are forward, and they are straining forward, and they are running. Have you ever run so hard that you kick yourself? Some of us, we ain't been young enough. Some of us, we ain't been young in a long time. We don't remember what that's like, but let me remind you. It's when you're running so hard that you're kicking yourself in your backside. Have you ever run that hard? I mean, you running all out with whatever is in you. Okay, y'all don't act like y'all know what I'm talking about. Mama said, be home for a street light come on. The light starts making the noise, and you realize that I got to go, right? And so you're going as fast as you can, and you're kicking yourself in the backside, and you're running. I'm talking about you running so hard you got your head back. Don't know what that does, but you got your head back, and you are just, for everything that you running so hard, you have now run out of your shoes. Somebody know what I'm talking about. You done kicked your shoes off, and you running for everything that you are worth. That's how you ought to be running in 2015. That's how you ought to be running. With everything that is within you, you need to be running and going as fast as you can, moving around those strollers. Now, let me tell you, there are going to be some strollers on the track. And you're going to have to get in your lane, and you're going to have to stay in your lane, and you're going to have to move about and run and strain and push yourself forward. But you've got to keep your eye on the finish line.